You know, when you watch a master chef working in like a high-end restaurant kitchen, there's a kind of magic to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, they have these gleaming stainless steel counters, an array of perfectly sharpened knives, and all their ingredients are, pre-chopped in these neat little glass bowls.
Everything is completely optimized.
Exactly. Everything is optimized. And then you look at your own kitchen with that one dull knife and a super crowded cutting board, and you just think, well, I can't cook like that. I just don't have the setup.
Yeah, it's a massive barrier to entry. I mean, the tools you have access to inherently dictate the ceiling of what you can actually produce.
Exactly. And for the longest time, the world of artificial intelligence felt exactly like that master chef's kitchen.
Very exclusive.
Very. It felt like only the massive tech companies or, people with heavy computer science degrees had access to the sharp knives. But suddenly those little glass bowls of pre-chopped ingredients, those professional grade tools, they're just showing up right on everyone's kitchen counters.
It's wild to see.
It really is. So welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking complete control of the AI landscape, and we're doing it without opening our wallets. We are diving into part 2 of our countdown of the best free AI tools you can use right now, looking specifically at 2026.
And we're covering numbers 6 through 10 today.
Yes, tools 6 through 10. And crucially, I need to make this clear up front. While some of these might have optional paid tiers for power users, they all provide really meaningful free access right now.
Right. No sneaky trial periods required.
No entering your credit card and hoping you remember to cancel, just pure access.
And I think we should frame today not just as a random list of cool apps. We are really looking at a blueprint for a complete AI workflow.
Oh, I like that. Oh, workflow.
Yeah, because we are going to look at how these specific tools stack together. We're taking you, the listener, from consuming information to generating wild ideas to refining your designs and finally producing a polished final product. It doesn't matter what your technical expertise is.
Okay, let's unpack this because if we are actually building a functional workflow, we have to start at the very beginning. And step 1 isn't actually creating anything, is it? It's the input phase.
Right. Every great creative project, or even just every solid business presentation, it all begins with research.
You have to gather the raw materials.
Exactly. Before you can output anything of value, you must consume information. And that's where we bring in tool number 7 on our overall list, ElevenLabs Reader.
Okay, yes.
It fundamentally changes the physical dynamic of how you gather that information.
I really want to dig into this one because I was staring at a really dense, like 40-page white paper yesterday, and the cognitive load of just processing that text on a screen was immense. Like screen fatigue is so
Oh,
real.
it's a massive productivity killer.
Right. And ElevenLabs Reader is essentially an AI text-to-speech app that turns those PDFs or long articles into audio. But I have to push back a little bit here.
Go for it.
When I think of text-to-speech reading a dense, dry PDF, I immediately get flashbacks to that clunky, robotic, monotone voice from, like, a decade ago.
The old GPS voice.
Yes. The quarterly earnings report indicates, it's usually so jarring that it's actually harder to absorb the information than if I just forced myself to read it.
Hmm.
Is this really different?
It is entirely different, and what's fascinating here is understanding exactly why it sounds different now, because it's a completely different technology under the hood.
Okay, how so?
Well, older text-to-speech engines relied on something called concatenative synthesis, which is a fancy way of saying they recorded a human saying every possible syllable, and then the software just glued those tiny audio clips together.
Oh, wow. So they just stitched it all together manually, basically.
Yeah, mechanically. That's why it sounded incredibly disjointed and robotic. The pacing was completely ignorant of the actual meaning of the sentence.
So it was just blindly pasting sounds together without knowing what it was saying or feeling.
Precisely.
Mm.
But modern AI voice synthesis, which is what ElevenLabs really specializes in, uses deep neural networks.
Right.
Instead of splicing audio clips, the AI processes the entire paragraph of text to understand the semantic context before it generates a single second of audio.
Wait, it reads ahead.
Yes. It effectively predicts the emotional tone, the necessary pauses for commas, and the emphasis required for specific words based on the actual meaning of the text. It mathematically maps out human speech patterns.
So it's less like having a 1990s GPS device read to you, and more like, well, it's like hiring a professional, highly personalized audiobook narrator whose sole job in life is to specifically read your dry, boring meeting notes to you.
That's a perfect way to look at it. You are literally commissioning a bespoke audiobook for whatever niche topic you were researching that day.
That's
And
incredible.
practically, it means you can process that 40-page PDF while you're commuting or making dinner or, just resting your eyes on the couch. It completely unchains your learning from your computer monitor without sacrificing any comprehension.
That completely changes the intake phase for me. All right, so we've consumed our research. We've listened to the PDFs, we've gathered our knowledge, and our eyes aren't burning from staring at a glowing rectangle.
Always a plus.
Right. Now we need to transition from consuming to actually generating our own ideas. We need to brainstorm.
And brainstorming is honestly often the hardest part of any workflow. Staring at a blank page is incredibly intimidating.
It's the worst.
You need a space where you can just experiment, throw things at the wall and see what sticks without the pressure of it being perfect right away.
So we move into the brainstorming hub of our workflow. And I was playing around with Google Whisk yesterday, which is tool number 10. And what struck me was how it handles visual ideation.
It's very unique.
Yeah, it wasn't asking me for complex code or like perfectly engineered paragraph-long text prompts.
Exactly. Google Whisk acts as this highly accessible visual playground because brainstorming rarely happens in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
You usually have a vibe or reference image or a half-formed thought.
Like a mood board.
Exactly. Whisk allows you to take an image you already like, mash it up with a really loose text prompt, and the AI rapidly generates new iterations.
But how is it actually doing that? Like,
Yeah.
how does it seamlessly blend a photo of, say, a minimalist living room with a text prompts like make it cyberpunk without the whole image just turning into a garbled, messy blob?
It's really cool. It comes down to how AI models understand imagery through what's called a latent space.
The latent space.
Yeah. When you upload an image to Google Whisk, the AI doesn't see pixels. It translates that image into mathematical data points representing the core features.
Right.
So the geometry of the room, the lighting, the shapes.
Okay.
When you add a text prompt, it translates your words into similar mathematical coordinates. The AI then uses a diffusion process to bridge the gap between those 2 points in the latent space.
So it's basically finding a middle ground numerically.
Yes. It gradually reconstructs the image to incorporate the new cyberpunk data while preserving the structural integrity of your original living room. And it's doing this incredibly complex visual math in milliseconds.
It's essentially visual ideation at the speed of thought. I mean, I love the idea of rapid ideation. But then we have the other side of the brainstorming coin of that. Tool number 6, hugging face spaces. And I'm not going to lie, the name alone and the fact that it's described as an open source decentralized laboratory hosting thousands of AI models, I mean, it sounds incredibly intimidating.
It just sounds like a lot.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because it feels like we are comparing two very different environments here. Google Whisk sounds like a super user-friendly visual DJ deck, right? You just stand there, slide a fader, mash up an image and a prompt intuitively.
A very clean interface.
Right. But hugging face spaces sounds like walking into a massive industrial kitchen where there are thousands of incredibly complex appliances whirling away, and like you might accidentally turn on a blowtorch if you press the wrong button.
That is a very fair concern. Hugging Face is absolutely an industrial kitchen. But let's demystify what open source actually means in this context because that is the key to its power for you.
Okay, demystify it for me.
Think of open source AI like a massive public recipe book. Instead of a massive tech company locking their algorithm in some corporate vault, developers on Hugging Face publish the exact mathematical recipe for their AI.
So anyone can see it.
Right, which allows anyone to tweak the ingredients.
Okay, a public recipe book makes sense. But practically speaking, if I don't know how to code, which I don't, how do I actually use these recipes? I can't read Python.
And that is exactly what the Spaces part of Hugging Face Spaces solves. You don't have to be the one building the appliances, you just get to use them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Developers wrap their complex code in a simple, accessible web interface. It's usually just a text box or drop-down menu. So yes, underneath it's this vast ecosystem of computer science, but your actual interaction is as simple as typing into a Google search bar.
Okay, so going back to the industrial kitchen metaphor, it's an industrial kitchen, but specifically, it's one where the appliances are modular and they just have really simple on-end buttons on the front.
Exactly. And through APIs, which are basically just bridges that let different pieces of software talk to each other, you can take the mixing blade from one machine and attach it to the oven of another.
That's a great visual.
You might find a tool on Hugging Face that generates specific Python code for a data chart, right? And then another tool that synthesizes a completely unique vocal clone. You are testing thousands of cutting-edge, specialized AI micro apps that you'd otherwise never have access to, all from a standard web browser.
Okay, I am fully on board now. We've got our visual DJ deck in Google Whisk to remix our aesthetic ideas, and we have our massive industrial kitchen in Hugging Face spaces to experiment with specialized apps, voice, and code.
We have all the raw materials.
We have brainstormed some wild, brilliant concepts, and let's be honest here, they're probably a little messy.
Oh, they will absolutely be messy. Raw AI generation is almost never a finished product. I mean, an AI might generate a stunning image for your presentation, but maybe there's a weird artifact in the corner, or the background completely clashes with your company's branding colors.
Which brings us to the next phase of our workflow, refinement. We need a digital scalpel. And for this, we bring in tool number 8, Pixlr AI.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to understand the critical difference between generative AI and corrective AI.
Okay, break that down.
Up until this point in the workflow, we have been using generative AI. We're asking the computer to make something entirely new from scratch.
Right, pulling it out of thin air.
Exactly. But Pixlr AI represents the editing phase. This is corrective AI. It's about manipulating, refining, and fixing what is already there in front of you. This is where your human touch comes back in.
But wait, let me challenge this a bit. When we talk about AI image editing, specifically things like removing a background, doesn't the AI often struggle with complex edges?
It used to, yeah.
Like, if I have a photo of someone with really frizzy hair, or I'm trying to cut out a transparent glass of water, older tools used to just chop off the hair or make the glass look like a solid gray block. How is Pixlr AI actually distinguishing the foreground from the background without me having to manually draw a tiny line around every hair?
That is the leap from old color contrast tools to modern computer vision. When Pixlr AI removes a background, it's not just guessing by looking for a sharp change in color, like the old magic wand tools did.
Right, the magic wand was so frustrating.
It uses a process called semantic segmentation.
So what does this all mean? Semantic segmentation, break that down for me.
Basically, it means the AI has been trained on millions of photos to mathematically understand the actual concept of the objects in the image. It knows what human hair structurally looks like in the real world.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it understands the transparency and the light refraction of a glass of water. So instead of just looking for a pixel border, it categorizes every single pixel in the entire image as belonging to the human or belonging to the brick wall behind them.
That is absolutely fascinating. So it essentially understands the anatomy of the image, not just the raw colors on the screen.
Exactly. And because it understands the anatomy, it can handle the incredibly tedious labor of masking those complex edges, like the frizzy hair you mentioned.
Yeah.
It drastically lowers the barrier to entry for professional-level graphic design editing.
So you don't need a design background.
You don't need a degree in design.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't need to spend 4 hours with a digital pen tool.
Yeah.
You just need to know what looks good to your own eye. The tool handles the mechanical execution for you.
So we've used Google Whisk or Hugging Face to throw paint at the canvas and see what looks cool. Now we've used Pixlr AI as our digital scalpel to surgically remove the bad parts, fix the lighting, and cut out the perfect usable assets.
Exactly.
The messy brainstorming is officially cleaned up. We have pristine, edited, highly usable assets. Which brings us to the final stage of the workflow, the final assembly.
Right, because having a folder full of really nice images and cool code snippets isn't a final product. You have to package this to actually show your boss, your clients, or your audience. And historically, this is where workflows completely fall apart.
Oh, totally, because of app fatigue. You have your text in a Word document, your images in a downloads folder, your layout in PowerPoint, and you are just endlessly tabbing between them, trying to force them to fit together.
That disjointed process is exactly what we need to solve here. This raises an important question. How do we consolidate? The digital workflow requires consolidation. And that brings us to tool number 9, Canva AI Tools. Canva acts as the ultimate aggregator for our workflow. It acts as the final assembly line.
Let's spend some real time here because Canva isn't just a simple layout tool anymore. It has a massive suite of built-in AI tools now, including Magic Write, AI image generation, and video editing. But how does it actually synthesize these things?
It's the magic of it.
Like, if I bring my pristine cutout image from Pixlr into Canva, how is the AI helping me beyond just letting me drag and drop it onto a slide?
This is where the concept of context windows across different media formats becomes crucial. Think about the past. If you wanted an AI to write marketing copy for a specific image, You had to write a massive, highly detailed prompt describing the visual image to a text-based AI. You had to act as the translator.
Oh, yeah. Please write an Instagram caption for a picture of a cyberpunk living room with neon blue lights and a sleek black sofa.
It's exhausting just typing it.
Exactly. But Canva's AI operates with continuous visual context. When you drop your polished image onto a Canva workspace, its AI vision model instantly scans it.
Instantly.
Yes, it identifies the color palette, the subjects, the mood, and the overall aesthetic. So when you click on Magic Write, which is Canva's text generation AI, and ask it to generate 3 presentation slides based on this visual, the AI already understands the aesthetic context.
Well, it generates text that naturally matches the mood of your image, and it formats that text into a slide layout that automatically uses the complementary color palette of your uploaded asset.
That is true integration. So the AI isn't just working in a silo. The text generation is directly communicating with the visual analysis part of the tool.
Yes, and it goes even further. Let's say you were building this presentation deck, and you realize at the absolute last second, you are missing a specific visual, maybe a transition slide, showing a futuristic cityscape.
Always happens.
Instead of breaking your flow, going all the way back to Hugging Face, generating an image, refining it in Pixlr, and importing it, you can just use Canva's native AI image generator to fill that gap without ever leaving the platform.
It's like the polished showroom floor of a factory. You built the raw engine components in the massive industrial kitchen of Hugging Face spaces. You took those components to the auto body shop Pixlr AI, where you use the digital scalpel to paint them, smooth the edges, and make them look sharp. And now, Canva AI is the showroom floor where you mount the engine, polish the chrome, and put it under the perfect lighting for the whole world to see.
That is the perfect analogy. And because Canva's AI can stitch those visual assets and AI-generated text directly into a dynamic presentation deck or even a full video timeline, it unifies the entire creative journey. It takes all the raw potential we gathered and turns it into a consumable professional reality.
It really is an end-to-end powerhouse, and looking at these 5 tools together, it's almost staggering how perfectly they complement each other. It's not just a random collection of cool party tricks. It is a highly optimized machine.
And we have to remember the most important part of this entire discussion today. This machine is entirely built on free access.
Yes. Let's do a quick recap of this complete journey we just built, because it's incredible how seamless it actually is. We started by curing our screen fatigue and gathering our input data using the deep neural network voice synthesis of ElevenLabs Reader.
Step 1.
Then we moved into the brainstorming hub, blending concepts instantly with the visual latent space of Google Whisk. We pushed our boundaries by stepping into the modular open-source laboratory of Hugging Face spaces to access specialized tools.
The messy part.
Right, the messy brilliance. Once we had our chaotic genius, we brought in the digital scalpel Pixlr AI using semantic segmentation to flawlessly edit and refine our assets. And finally, we took all those polished pieces straight to the showroom floor using Canva's context-aware AI and Magic Write to seamlessly assemble them into a final, stunning presentation.
And I really want to emphasize to you, the listener, right now, this incredible stack of creative power is just sitting there waiting for you.
It's ready right now.
It doesn't matter if you've never written a single line of Python code in your life, or if you get nervous just opening a graphic design program. This entire workflow is accessible to you right this second, for free. The friction between having an idea in your head and holding a professional finished product in your hands has literally never been lower.
It really feels like that master chef's kitchen is just wide open for anyone to walk into. The knives are sharp, the ingredients are perfectly prepped in their little bowls. You just have to decide what you want to make. But, you know, as we wrap up this deep dive into the best free AI tools you can use right now, it leaves me with one really lingering thought.
What's that?
If this level of incredibly powerful end-to-end creative workflow is completely accessible to absolutely anyone with a Wi-Fi connection today, what happens in a year or two when this level of AI fluency isn't a superpower anymore, but just the absolute baseline expectation at your job?
Oh, that's the big question.
Right. When literally everyone has the exact same gleaming, perfectly optimized kitchen, will our career success simply be defined by the automated tools we use? Or will it come entirely down to the uniquely human taste, strategy, and vision we apply when we combine them?
Definitely something to think about the next time you stare at a blank page.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.